Hello and welcome to Beyond Small Talk. Today is Thursday, and you know what Thursday is, Beyond Small Talk Day. My name is Jackie Janik, and I'm a women's empowerment coach, helping women uncover their purpose and define their own path in the world. And today, you are watching Beyond Small Talk. Real women, real conversations, elevating womankind one talk at a time. And today, of course, the world, the universe is aligned because we are having Olivia White from at 41 Winks join us today. I'm so excited because our topic is on sleep. And as if some of you know, hi Olivia, 41 Winks is on. I've been struggling with my daughter who has autism and sleep. It is something that this is like 5 nights, 1 night full sleep. So we're gonna get in it. I am so excited to have her on, and I need and her wisdom around sleep. And what is 41 winks? I feel like I never asked you that question. I probably should have. Like, what is 41 winks, and where did that come from? Hey!
Oh, let me reposition this all.
Yeah, you look so stunning. You've been traveling all day. Oh, I love just
Oh,
beautiful.
I saw your preview of on your story that you were getting ready, and I was like, okay, I need to freshen because I was literally at the airport all day, only to come back to my apartment in Atlanta, and we're gonna have to try again tomorrow. We were trying to do standby, and it was just such a mess. The one good thing that came out of this is that people are traveling again, which is really so. All things considered, I'm happy to be cozy in my bed, chatting with you. Um,
Thank you so much. Oh my God. Yes, I've heard like the flight, like I'm glad so many people are flying, but things are just not going as smoothly with the flying and travel.
Not at all. And I think, it's just we're all having to figure out how to re-enter, into the world. So I'll give the airlines the benefit of the doubt, but um, it's fine. We're taking it easy. So happy to be here. And yes, so excited to chat about sleep with you and also just to see your face. It's been so long.
I know, several years, and I keep up with you, of course, on Insta and just follow you and your journey. And just it's just so awesome. Um, so thank you. And yes, please let's talk about sleep. I talk about sleep often because I have a daughter with autism, and sleep is just not always a thing that we get. And we're on. I mentioned after 5 nights, 1 night of full sleep. So we have a lot of interrupted sleep, which it feels like I described it as I was partying all night, like in my 20s, yet like raving, watching the sun come up, and then waking up in the morning and never leaving my bed. Like I feel like I just had like one of those, those nights, and I never left my bed. So let's get into it a bit. Can you talk about 41 winks? What is 41 winks?
Yes. So the name itself comes from an old saying, an old English saying that if you get 40 winks of sleep, then you've taken a nap and you've woken up and you feel well rested and rejuvenated. But at 41 winks, we add the extra wink. So it means that we go that extra mile and we really, everyone deserves the extra wink of sleep. That no matter what your personal situation is that you deserve a great night's rest. So how can we get there, and what are the barriers to making that happen, and how can we as a society, prioritize sleep and rest in a much better way? But 41 Winks as a brand, we sell all sorts of sleep masks, and are really just trying to make sleep fun and putting it back on the radar. So all of our sleep masks are really extra plush. They're going to block out all the light, but they have all these fun kind of phrases on them, which, is just a way to express your personality, whatever mood you're in for the day. We have some that say, not now. We have some haters if you're going through, some sort of tough situation with someone else, or just any type of mood. If you're a nap queen, it's really meant to kind of make going to sleep seem like less of a chore and something that we all get to look forward to.
I mean, I feel like, because when I was younger, I didn't realize how important sleep was because I was like, whatever, I'll sleep later, whatever, whatever. And then all of a sudden, when you get a bit older, you realize how important sleep is for your body to recover and how essential it is. I said like they could use, and I think they do, sleep as like a form of torture, like not letting people sleep. I said they should use this like in war or whatever, like.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, and I notice, and I think maybe when we're younger, we just don't, we're just constantly going and stimulated in so many different ways that we don't ever take the time to reflect on how our bodies. Are we there? Did I go?
Yes. You went out a little bit, like a little in and out. Can you hear me?
I'm good. That was very weird. Um, but I think that, there's something to be said about taking a moment to reflect on how we're feeling and think about, is my sleep like being is my sleep reflecting how I'm feeling? And I am noticing more and more that when I don't get a good night's sleep, I am not a fun individual. Like I am moody, I don't eat well. And then of course, as I do more research on sleep, it's like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's exactly what happens when you don't get a lot of sleep. So weird technical difficulties. One moment, let me make sure.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, we got the deadly circle going. I'm sure Olivia will be back in one moment because she is going to fill us in some really good stuff. And if you, oh, there you are, you're back.
Okay, I think I solved it. It might happen again. It's just one of those days, but we're here.
Yes, no, don't worry about it at all. Yeah, so sleep is being fun, and what does it do to your body? So, can you tell us a little bit like what no sleep does to your body, and or what does the sleep do for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many benefits to it. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned in my research is that we're still learning so much about it that
Hmm.
we think, I think back to when my mom would tell me, my mom she's always reading up on sleep and was always very cognizant, as you are, about just like how much sleep is needed for us growing up, my sister and I growing up. And she was always telling us, well, this latest article said, 6 to 9 hours. But then, later on, it's like, well, it's actually 7 to 9, actually 8. You have to get 8, or like it's always changing. And I think the biggest thing I'm learning is that we still have so much to learn about sleep, and still so much that is kind of a giant question mark. And the biggest thing is listening to your body, and it's such a personal journey. But I mean, the benefits include your metabolism, your immune system, your mood for sure. And I think that it's just, there's a book called, I think it's just called Why We Sleep. And it talks about us as a species. We are the only species to actively put off sleep. It's by this Dr. Matthew Walker, I believe his name is. But we're the only species to put off sleep. So clearly, it is something that is so necessary and important because every other living thing takes time to rest and rejuvenate and recover. And here we are pushing it, as a collective society and kind of championing hustle culture. But it's clearly so needed for our bodies. And yeah, there's just, well, so then he talks about this health trinity, and how it's, exercise, eating right, and getting great sleep. And that is really the foundation of what it would be to be healthy and feel good and live your best life, to be able to put your best foot forward and continue doing all of the other things that you love doing. So in a roundabout way, there are so many benefits to it.
Yeah, I don't see really anything that isn't a positive that comes out when you get good sleep. And like you said, I've done some research as well, just for my daughter and why she has more challenges with sleep being on the spectrum than atypical kids and what's the brain around it. And
Yeah.
it goes very deep, and I'm not like, it's hard for me to grasp some of that information because I was like, wow, I don't have like medical license. But what I get from it is, setting up the room for sleep, doing things like that beforehand and coming down, creating the environment for a good night's sleep. And I think you're right that we're in this like hustle culture that we don't always prioritize sleep, or maybe even look at, oh, you need that much sleep, you're like a weakling, like you're a big like wuss that you need a lot of sleep. I know, and I listen to my body. I'm like a 7 to 8er because I know if I get straight 7 to 8, I'm like, I feel like I could take on the world. And anything less than that, it's the same, like what you said, the mood is like off the charts. Like you're irritable. You're just like pissy. Well, I'm pissy, right? Like I'm just like,
Yeah.
super salty. And what I've noticed is that I'm way more dehydrated
Yeah.
when I don't sleep, and I crave sugar. Like I'm craving that sugar, and I was like, this isn't typically me. So sometimes it's hard to even like fight it. You're like, oh, my body wants sugar now. You know what? You could get
Right.
in that spiral of like, oh.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that it's hard to get out of that because then there's so many other pressures from life and just, again, society at large that make it so easy, like coffee, to just, all right, I'm tired, so let me just band-aid this real fast and get some caffeine and we'll just chug along through the day. And then you're still kind of wired by bedtime, so then you don't go to bed at a good time, and then it just continues. So it's, I think it's kind of having to be a bit rebellious, and of course there are so many, personal circumstances where you're struggling with that, and I'm so curious to hear how you end up kind of finding time or creating time. Not necessarily finding, I think it really is more about, creating that time if you can, but how do you end up resting or getting or prioritizing your sleep in a way that you can, that doesn't, take away from your family, in a way that makes you feel like, okay, after 5 nights and then 1 night of full sleep, that you're able to get that kind of recharged feeling again.
Yeah, it usually happens on the weekends. Like I have to like unfortunately wait till then. And I'm okay with taking naps.
Yeah.
Like, some mom culture and those things are like, oh, like no more napping after a kid's a certain age. I was like, heck no. If mama needs a nap, let's take a nap. And I don't do it. I have no judgment around it. I was like, this is what I need, and I show up as a better mother and person and friend and wife and daughter when I sleep. I tell people that all the time. I was like, and when I get to work, I'm always like, this is no sleep, so I'm warning everyone. You get a heads up. That's why I like to tell some people. And then when I do, I'm like, let's take on the world. So I'm open to also all remedies. I've tried some CBD oil. I've tried, what's the other one? Like people take
Melatonin.
melatonin. Did not work for my daughter. We're dark area, very cold.
Yeah.
It seems like super cold. So I have the AC on almost every night, even in the winter. I have the AC on in the winter. She also likes weighted blankets.
Yes. Yeah.
So we purchased a weighted blanket, and she likes me on top of the weighted blanket. So we have a,
Yes, I love that.
yeah, like very cozy. She likes to feel cocoon wrapped in. So literally try everything. But I do realize that if during the day she doesn't get her energy out, oh, Tammy, that's me too. Yeah, yeah. Like sometimes it feels nice to be wrapped up in a cocoon and dark and cold, and like that feels good, and it just will result in better sleep. I can also tell like during the day if people are like the anxiety's high or things like that, that I just know sleep isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what do we do when we don't get the sleep, you
I
know?
Well, and I love that you tell people right up front, like you're like, listen, this is what the deal is. Imagine if we all did that. Imagine if we were all like, hey, you know what? I didn't get a good night's sleep last night. I'm just gonna do my thing here and like don't take anything personally. And I know to some that's, you know, if you say that to your friend or like that might seem more socially acceptable, but I I think that, you know, we could all just collectively be in such a different place or just kind of operating at a different level of society if we were all able to really prioritize our rest and get such good sleep, because we'd all be at such a better, you know, we just all just be feeling so much better.
Yeah, you're just a happier person. Like, let's just admit it. Like, right? And I like
work together better.
yes. And it's around the self-awareness and also that, yes, you're right. Like amongst friends, it might be more socially acceptable. I do this at work. Like I do this in every area of my life because one, I've been on this personal development journey for now 15 years of doing the work around it, that I'm very self-aware of when my body needs certain things, or and two, I rather just like I just rather and you work with me, so it's never personal. I also have spoke a lot about perimenopause, and I am in this phase as well, which affects your sleep greatly. Yes, because I'm totally divulging today, but it brings on the night sweats like bad. Right. And that is like, it wakes you up. Anyway, so, and I talk about that and I tell people, I don't care if you're a guy or a girl, and some, you know, millennial guys I work with are like, you keep telling, I said, well, so you know, you have to prepare yourself.
Well, and I think too, a lot of what I'm kind of hearing and what you're saying, and something that I've spoken about a bit as well, is like shaming. Like we need to eliminate that, because so, and on one hand, you know, I think kind of not normalizing sleep, I think that's probably a bit extreme, but maybe just feeling a bit more open about being able to kind of be honest about your sleep and what it looks like and your habits. And then also just kind of learning as self-care at large has just taken off and people are sharing their tips and tricks. Like I think there's such an important moment for sleep to be not just, you know, what you do as your nightly ritual kind of before, but like what are the struggles going on, and really tapping into that and talking about that more. But then on the other hand, not judging and not making someone feel, and that goes for yourself, because I found that I am guilty waking up late and then my entire day is just like, you're a failure because you get up at the time that you wanted to get up, you know? And then then I go to bed late because I've gotten up late. And so it's that kind of same spiral, but it's such a mental kind of journey as well, because I need to quit judging myself. And then of course, anyone around, like, oh, you slept until 10 or hours of sleep. Or if someone left a social gathering early to go to sleep, it's like, well, won't you have FOMO, or won't, you know, like don't leave, you know? And I've always admired the friends that are like, nope, it's time for my bed. Like I've got to go to sleep. So I think there's a moment there where we can step into that power a bit more and really prioritize it in a way that we aren't.
That is such a good point, not to judge yourself or judge others. So for example, my husband, he's a personal trainer. So he's up at the crack of dawn. Like that's his hours. He loves it. So especially now, he's going to bed at like 8:30, and I've been very judgy about it. So thank you for pointing it out. And hey, chin check to myself of like, because in New York, it's still light out. I'm like, how do you go to bed with the light? Sun is still out. Like, come on, can we wait till the sun goes down and then go to bed? So thanks for pointing that out. Let's stop judging ourselves and others, you know, about their sleep schedules or how much they need. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to address that tonight.
That's a journey though for me too. And I live with my boyfriend, and we're having to really figure out what that structure looks like for us. So if you haven't, what time do you usually go to bed?
Between 9:30, like I help my daughter go to bed, so she is usually around 9:30. So we go 9:30, and then a good night's sleep. She usually falls asleep. I fall asleep at like 10, and I'm up by 6. Like
Yeah,
if I sleep a 10 to 6er, I'm like, that's an amazing evening for me. Amazing night of sleep. Yeah.
that's that's wonderful that it that
Yeah.
that's and that you kind of know that structure at least now, even when it doesn't end up happening. But I think where I'm interested on my own kind of sleep journey is to really figure out, because we're both kind of night owls, but I know that I want to go to sleep at a good time so that I am able to wake up at a good time, or good and is always relative, but in my mind for my schedule. And so trying to get on or be okay with not going to bed at the same time, or
Mhm.
like getting into that rhythm has been interesting. And I think it kind of just goes back to everything that we're talking about. The like, if he wants to stay up, I can't judge that. And if I need to go to sleep, then I need to prioritize my sleep and just put myself to bed.
You put yourself to bed.
Amazed that you are able to do that.
Yeah, yes. Um, and I love that you're talking about, that we're focused on self-care. And I tell people there's a whole aspect of self-care. And, some people think of it initially as like manicure, pedicures, or things like that. And all those things are great. Yet I believe strongly that there's a foundation of self-care and where do you start. And I always talk about sleep is like number one, sleep, hydration, and nutrition. And while I'm not an expert in nutrition at all, I always think that that's like the foundation and you build from there.
Yeah.
Do you have any other tips about healthy sleep? What else do you do?
Well, so I mean, I love that you brought up um, even the hydration part of it. Like if you think about sleep, it's like it gives our body time to, I mean, our cells are literally working while our entire body is working while we're sleeping. So it's great for us to rest so that we can then wake up and have all of these, everything is like reprogrammed itself to make sure that we're ready to start fresh again at the new day. Um, so I think just kind of setting yourself up, your body up for success to go to work when you're resting, which includes a lot of hydration. And I think that that is something that as I get older, I'm much more cognizant of, like how much water I'm drinking during the day. I've started in the mornings to just wake up and have a glass of water
Mhm.
and not judge which glass I pick. Maybe I'll even leave it for like just getting a drop of water in my body to
Mhm.
start the day before I even have my coffee, has for some reason just kind of helped me to wake up and helped me to get into the mindset of like, okay, today you're drinking water, which seems
For sure.
absurd, but it kind of took that for me to prioritize and make sure that that's something that I'm actually following through with throughout the day. So yeah, I think drinking a lot of water. I think you checked a lot of the boxes of sleeping in a cold environment, finding what makes you feel cozy, and for me, it's a lot about getting up. Like I could climb in bed and then just be in bed for hours at night before I actually fall asleep. But I think it's really about getting up and finding something that can get your feet on the ground, and ready to start even just whatever your morning routine is, or just committing to the walk to the kitchen to get that drop of water, making it
Mhm.
very easy, attainable steps to kind of start your day off without feeling pressured, or that you have this to-do list of like, this is my morning routine and I have to check all these boxes. It's just one simple thing that can help you get out of bed, which I'm really speaking to myself right now.
And don't we do that?
A lot of exercise, like making sure that, with this transition back to life outside and doing a lot more activities, making sure that we're, we're focused on like those random walks that we were all kind of doing to get out of the house, or really doing an at-home workout, or going to a studio and doing a workout or whatever that kind of activity may be, because the more tired we can make ourselves during the day, while, you know, drinking our water and feeding ourselves great nutritious foods. And I think that really is going to set our bodies up for such a successful night's sleep. And I think that
Oops. Oh,
these
there you go.
technical
There you go.
difficulties, but um, I think that the truth of it is there really is something to be said about the length of our sleep. You know, our bodies are going through our REM cycles at different times over the course of one long period of time. Granted, to go back to the very beginning, it varies per person. So I don't like, I think it's important to learn about the science behind sleep, but I also think it's equally important to learn about just how your body feels and not try to stick to a certain, you know, like, oh, I didn't get 4 hours at this time last night, so I'm going to be tired all day. Like, we can get in that cycle. I think it's just learning what your body needs, making sure you're tired, putting great things in your body, and thinking of sleep as something so wonderful for your entire everything inside, that then you get to wake up and do all the things that you love and want to do, but feeling your best.
But, that was just awesome. It's like, I was like, how can I make sleep fun and even look pretty? Because I know you have the mask. I wish my daughter would wear one because I would put one on her, but she doesn't. Doesn't like things on her. But that is just perfect. And also, I have to tell people, I'm adding one more thing, that please put down the phones. Like, put down the phone, right? Put it over there. Like, let's just get it out of our mind, or in the middle of the night, and I'm totally guilty talking to myself. Stop picking up the phone in the middle of the night when I'm up between 3 and 5. Please stop. Like, I'm telling this to myself right now. Like,
Well,
stop. It doesn't help.
what kind of things could you do instead? Because I'm the same way. I'll just reach for my phone. But what are some things that maybe, or that you found, if you have, that, you
Mm.
know, whether it's reading a book or just going and meditating or sitting and staring out the window for a little bit, like, are there things that you found that have worked for that to take that place?
Yes. Yeah, like I have water by my bed, so sometimes I just, like, you get parched, I get a sip of water, or I have, like, I get ideas in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Like, my brain, like, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, that's like, and I feel like that's like a message, like someone's telling, like, the universe, not to sound too woo-woo, but I feel like that's like a message, like someone's telling me, and it's usually around, coaching or personal development or creating or whatever. So now I do always keep, because I forget everything now, this, and I always keep this. So then I could feel like, oh my God, I don't play it through my head so I don't forget,
Yeah.
and that keeps me up. So now I write like a lot of little notes by my bed just in case. But those are the only two things that I found. Um,
That's great. It doesn't have to be,
yeah.
you know, again, in this self-care kind of world where it almost feels like we have to have all these like glamorous, amazing
But
steps and things. And it's like, if all it is like taking a sip of water and making sure that you can just get out whatever is in your brain onto a piece of paper, like, that's amazing. If it works for you, then it works for you.
yeah, for sure. Because I'm that person that if it's still in here, it's like going to keep me up for hours, right? It's like, oh, stop, brain, stop moving for a minute. How do you quiet the mind,
Yeah.
in order to find that place of really great sleep? Oh my God. So this was awesome. Can you tell us a little bit more about 41 Winks and your journey?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I joined 41 Winks when my aunt actually was the founder and creator of it. We were selling all sorts of bedding products, so like pillows, Euro shams, duvet covers, bed skirts, a ton of different stuff. And I just little by little fell in love with the business and running it. And my aunt and I worked so well together. And she ended up having a lot of other kind of projects in the mix. So I continue to step into more leadership roles, and ultimately ended up pivoting us solely to the sleep masks and took over officially actually this year.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. It's felt like, you know, part of my baby, and now it's just fully my baby, which is amazing because it's so, I just know there's so much potential, and there's so much excitement going on, especially having these types of conversations, and knowing that sleep is such an important topic, and that it again is something that I think we should all be talking about more and very vulnerably and honestly. So I'm very excited. We've got a lot in the mix for the rest of this year. Very exciting things, which I am bubbling to talk about. But yeah, it's been a really fun journey. And it's, of course, I always want to acknowledge that there have been ups and downs all along the way. And I think that that's very important to talk about. But the idea of building this has just been so fulfilling, and I'm so grateful for everyone being along on this journey for so long. I mean, you and I met years ago, and here we are in this, and I just love how it can all kind of come full circle. And sleep is always important every step of the way. So yeah, thank you so
100%.
much.
Oh, yes, of course. And I want to congratulate you over, taking over and also pivoting during all of COVID and making those beautiful masks. I mean, that was just such an awesome thing to do. And yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Of course. And I want to say that was really incredible. I have to kind of sing the praises of my team, but also my manufacturer. We work with a manufacturer in Pennsylvania, and it was really their amazing ability to pivot that quickly and make those face masks. Like, it was, I thought of the idea as I kind of saw all the other brands kind of starting to do that, and texted my manufacturer, and they were like, we're on it. And it was just amazing. So I have to give it to them, because that, and I think that's so much about, what building something for a long time can kind of bring, is really great relationships like this, and having worlds collide at different times, but just those relationships along the way is why I love entrepreneurship from the beginning. So but thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I 100% agree. I talk about building a circle of support. I call it COS. I learned it from the autism community. I was sitting on a meeting one day, and they're like, "Oh, who's in your COS?" I said, "Well, A, what is COS?
Yeah.
Two, let's talk this through." And I've always been one to, love women's communities and circles, and been part of them for a really long time, but I never had like this thing called circle of support. So now that I have something where I could put like a nice bow on it, it's just creating these relationships and community, and even meeting, like we met years ago on a photo shoot, which I've never been in one. And I was like, how did I end up here? And meeting these wonderful women. And yeah, that's a really good part of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Women supporting women.
I've never heard of a COS, and I love that. That's great. And it's so needed in every aspect of your life. I mean, that's wonderful that there's a group, or that's, part of you and your daughter's journey, and that can be relayed in every other kind of aspect of our lives as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great thing that the autism community is teaching, because they know if we don't have a circle support, we couldn't survive and thrive. Well, thrive basically, and survive most days. So I am so appreciative. Thank you so much. Everyone, check out 41 Wings, www.com, 41 Wings. Follow Olivia and 41 Wings at IG 41 Wings. And thank you so much. I appreciate this, and I appreciate everything you have on sleep, and crossing fingers that we get good sleep tonight.
Yeah. Cheers. Happy sleeping.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.